Should he start week 1?
Yeah, so I think there does need to be kind of a contingency here, and that's under the assumption, which I think you and I are making the assumption, that he is going to consume this offense quickly and he's going to absorb it because, again, the number one trait with this guy, Trey Lance, is that the number one trait that everybody seems to preach is that he absorbs and retains information better than anybody in this draft. So I think you and I are under the assumption that he's going to absorb this offense quickly and he's going to be ready to go quickly. Then, yeah, I 100% believe he should start week 1. It was something that I tweeted out right after the draft. I said, look, I still think he should start week 1. The problem with him is reps, and he should start week 1. And I have a whole argument on why he should start week 1. First, let's look at the player Trey Lance itself. He's kind of in a really weird position because Trey Lance's main issue is just the lack of reps and the intermediate and downfield accuracy. Both of those things are not going to improve by him holding a clipboard. There's no questions with Trey Lance on whether he can get into a huddle, whether he can spit out a play, whether he knows where to go with the ball. All those things with Trey Lance seem to be not question marks, but pluses. They seem to be things that you can write down and say he does well. It's just a question of reps, and he's 288 throws into his career, and nobody knows what he is. I mean, 288 throws into Jimmy Garoppolo's career, we thought he was the savior of the 49ers, and 288 throws into Alex Smith's career, we thought he was the worst quarterback draft pick ever. So there's a lot. We need to find out what he is, and the only way we're going to find that out is playing. And then let's look at what he does well. He is an extremely, extremely good 0 to 5 yards thrower. He's good in the screen game. He gets the ball out quickly. He throws the ball with a lot of pace, and he has a lot of arm strength, and he is quite accurate. He's very accurate. What does Jimmy Garoppolo do well? Very accurate, 0 to 5 yards. So in terms of the pass game, can he do all the things Jimmy does right now? I would 100% say yes. In terms of decision-making, Kyle Shanahan has already said he's a natural quarterback in terms of his decision-making. So that's what Kyle seems to like best about him, his decision-making. And then you add in the fact that his running is going to add so much to this offense. They're clearly trying to build an offense geared around trying to play this kind of running game with where you have 6 eligible ball carriers on the field at a time and make defenses head spin.
Vish, come back. Vish, come back. You can blame it all on me. Where you at, Vish? Dang. And he's gone. What do you think he was going to say next, guys?
Am I back?
Oh, he's back. What's up, dude? How you doing?
Wait, what happened? Where did I get cut off?
You were cut off about 30 seconds ago.
What was
I started singing. I forget. I started singing.
Oh, you did? What were you singing?
My bad. I was singing, Vish, come back. You can blame it all on me. Anyway.
It's all your fault, Grant.
Anyway. No, you were saying about Trey Lance, something?
Yeah, he should start week 1. Absolutely. He needs reps, and the only way he's getting reps is on the field. People bring up the Patrick Mahomes comparison all the time, right? If Patrick Mahomes sat 1 year, everybody should sit 1 year. Well, Patrick Mahomes never huddled in college.
True.
Patrick Mahomes played in the air raid in college. This guy huddled. He knows how to spit out long plays, right? And I still think that when people bring up the protections, that he set his own protections, I thought it was a bad argument as to why he's so smart, only because Mac Jones did the same thing, and we've seen Trevor Lawrence do the same thing. So I didn't think that separated him. But what did separate him is the fact that he spit out long plays and he huddled in college. So he's capable of doing that already.
Theoretically, he's like almost more ready to do the difficult things in the 49ers offense than someone who didn't do those things.
He's more ready to consume an offense than anybody, I would say, outside of Mac Jones. His only problem is that he doesn't have throws, and he's not going to get more throws and more reps by sitting on the bench. The only way he's going to get that experience is by playing.
So let me just ask you some questions here. So it seems to me that I'm with you on this, but my dad is so against us. So let me try to ask some questions that he might think of. Well, first of all, this guy's really young. Like, he's younger than Lamar Jackson was coming into the league. He still hasn't turned 21. He turns 21 a week from yesterday. So there's reason to wonder if he'll be ready, and there's no rush. With Lamar, and they're different. Lamar Jackson and Trey Lance are different. What Trey Lance could become and what Lamar Jackson will end up being are different things. But what to expect from Trey Lance as a rookie, I feel like Lamar Jackson is a decent template. It's not exactly perfect, but it's decent. And with Lamar Jackson, he didn't start right away. He started after the bye week.
Right.
Why do you think Trey Lance is more suited to start week 1 than Lamar Jackson was?
Well, one, I actually think Lamar Jackson should have started.
I knew you were going to say that.
To me, the fact that they went 500 with Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson comes in and immediately did they go 5-2? They made the playoffs that year because of Lamar Jackson as a rookie. So,
that's a good point.
What are we doing here? And then what does Jimmy actually do better? Like, Jimmy's decision-making is a question mark. Again, we talked about what a natural decision-maker Trey Lance is. Kyle Shanahan keeps harping on that. And then the running adds an element to this offense that Jimmy doesn't bring. Yeah. The only problem they have with Jimmy is that I think all these places that they could have moved him are kind of gone. So he might have to be their backup quarterback. Hopefully they can get him to take a pay cut or something. But I just don't see the valid reason here not to start Trey Lance. And the only thing would be that he is not consuming this offense in training camp. But you and I think, are under the assumption that he will, just based on everything you're able to read about him.
Well, final follow-up. Why didn't the Ravens start Lamar Jackson right away? Was he not ready, or was it just that Joe Flacco had won a Super Bowl and there were some emotional ties to him and it wasn't easy to just run him out of the building for a 21-year-old?
I think it's the latter. I think everybody has this idea. I mean, they do this every year.
And it's the same thing with Jimmy, although he didn't win.
One game Tyrod Taylor started, that really changed Justin Herbert. Man, I got to tell you. And, Baker Mayfield starting Tyrod Taylor, those 3 games, Deshaun Watson, that one half that he sat really, really changed things. No, I don't think that. I think that they kind of just try to baby these quarterbacks and keep this veteran just in case. But for the most part, these quarterbacks are ready. I don't think quarterback development really happens in the NFL. I think for the most part, like Deshaun Watson from day one, he looked pretty special. He was leading the NFL in touchdown passes before he tore his ACL. Lamar Jackson, the throwing with Lamar Jackson improved a ton year 1 to year 2, but in terms of how electric he was, the impact he had on a game, all of that you could see from the moment Lamar Jackson started his first game that he was going to do that. So with Trey Lance, I think you're going to see it early. If he's that guy, you will see it from day one. Even the Mahomes thing, and I bring it up every time. I feel like I've made this point on your show 3 times. It's actually Splash Cousins' point, and I think he says it the best. He's like, Patrick Mahomes, that year 2 of starting, threw 50 touchdown passes. It wasn't like he came in through 30. I feel like if he started year 1, okay, he might not have thrown 50 touchdown passes, but you can't tell me that the player himself isn't that good where he could have come in and still been a really, really good quarterback year 1, because he had one of the greatest seasons ever by year 2, and 1 season of sitting doesn't make him do that.
Right, but I wouldn't expect Trey Lance to come out and play like Mahomes this year. But I think expecting him to come out and play like Lamar Jackson did as a rookie is absolutely realistic. Lamar Jackson won almost every start he had when he played, and he basically threw like 22, 23 passes a game, which is right in Trey Lance's wheelhouse. It's what he's used to. I think the Niners could really use him like pretty much the way North Dakota State did as a rookie, and then by year 2, he could come out throwing 40, 45 passes a game if he needed to, the way Lamar Jackson did.
Grant, what were they? They were 52-48 run to throw in 2019. They were 51-49. They can do that. Why can't he throw 27 touchdowns and 13 interceptions? Look at Jimmy Garoppolo's season. Look at some of those interceptions. Are you telling me a rookie would like not?
And there's one more thing. Again, you say this with Lamar Jackson. Like, what about the rushing production? How many yards is Trey Lance going to run for next year? How many touchdowns?
I think he can run for 500 yards at least if he starts.
And he can score the red zone, 5, 6, 7, 8 touchdowns.
Absolutely.
And that's going to All right, we got to move on. But
you've talked about Kyle Shanahan's red zone offense. When you add a quarterback that can run, they don't even need to throw in the red zone. Their red zone rushing offense is going to be impossible to stop because Debo, Kittle, and Lance and the running back, all 4 of them are a threat between 10-1 to score in the to score touchdowns. My God, I really messed that up. But the point is that their red zone rushing offense is going to be great.
Not sure how you watched his last 5 games and ignored all the missed reads, missed throws, lack of attempts, running when guys are open. Niners fell in love with the story and played themselves hard. Oh, wow, Tony. Interesting. His last 5 games, I watched him against Delaware. I thought he was just money.
He played really well against Delaware. There were a couple games that were bad, like the game against, was it James Madison where he played Ben DiNucci in the final? That game wasn't the best, but
and then Central Arkansas.
Yeah, I mean, overall, like we have harped on those things, but this is who they drafted. And there is a lot to work with here too. I think that that's the point that people like. I definitely didn't talk about that enough because I felt like everybody was so positive. Trey Lance always had to go back to the pass attempts and the accuracy, but Grant's always pointed it out: the decision making, how smart he is, how athletically gifted he is. All these things are definitely a ton to work with.
He enhances the running game, and he doesn't ruin the whole operation by turning the ball over. That's what's really important here.